people, good people. What up? What up? How y'all feeling today? Hope you had a marvelous week on purpose. Uh, Facebook salute. Pardon me. Facebook salute. YouTube salute. Salute. Let me let uh, TikTok in. TikTok. What up? What up? Thank you for checking in. For those who will, and for those who will not, peace be to you as well. Welcome back to Coach Class with Coach. We are here every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Um, Today's class is going to be about self accountability. All right. Let's go over some quick announcements while I wait for my brother from the same mother, my co host, Jamal White. Change my picture, share my screen. Again, if you're checking in on TikTok, you will not be able to see the presentation. But if you would like to see the presentation, you can go to Darrell White on YouTube or the gallery that tells your story on YouTube. All right. All right. Some announcements. Here we go. So, like I just mentioned, I want you guys to check out the Gallery that Tells Your Story channel on YouTube. I want you to poke around, check out the content, and send me a DM and let me know what your thoughts are about it. And let me share my screen here. Give you guys a glimpse of the channel. Share. Share. All right, here it is. So yeah, as you can see, and if you ask me who this is for, like who's the audience, I would say church folk. So as you can see on this one video right here, I have Understand the 2 Kings 6, 8 through 23. I have a session about Adam's transgression, understanding Joshua 2, 1 through 14. And then on this line, as you see, dysfunctional relationships, we talk a little bit about that. What else we have on here? We talk about expectations, relationship expectations. Should you have them? Are they healthy? Can they be unhealthy? All right. Just to name a few things here. And then, as you can see, this title is Are Our Lives Justified by God? So you can see all that on the Gallery that Tells Your Story channel on YouTube. So check that out and give me your feedback. That would be much appreciated. Also, I have my channel, Darrell White. I'm going to give you a glimpse of that right now. And we're still building this. We're still trying to get momentum. So if you go here in this section right here, you can actually access my calendar for coaching sessions. So you just, hold your phone up as the QR code will pop up and give you access. All right. So some of the content here, my Bible studies will be kept here. as well. Um, the wounds of abandonment, I have a short piece on that. The wounds of molestation, I have a short piece on that. A single mother's pain, speech that I provided, had the pleasure to provide this weekend. That's up there as well. So yeah, check that out, guys. Give me your honest feedback on that. All right. All right. Let's go back to the other announcements that we have. Yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. So if we're not connected on Facebook, you can find me at Darrell White. Just send me a request. And look, I've been really like looking at the requests intently because I know that you know everybody who or all the requests that you get are not authentic. And I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. I would love to get your feedback. It seems like I have a good uh, way of weeding the. I don't know if it's AI. I don't know if it's just people trying to scam you. I find that if you look on people's pages, when people send you a friend request, you look on that page, uh, and it seems to me like if there are no recent posts, then it might be a fugazi. I don't know if that's a good uh, way to determine whether the requests are real or not, but that's pretty much how I do it. But anyway, send me a request and let's stay connected. If you're listening in on Facebook and we are not connected on TikTok, you can find me at Darrell Dr. White. And IG is the same, Darrell Dr. White. All right. So then we have books for sale. We have I Do, I Did, and It Didn't. I'm about to order some hard copies really soon so I can have some on deck. We have 50 Shades of She, which is my wife's really dope poetic novel. And then we have two books under Aiden's Journey, which is The Invisible Marriage and Forsaking All Others, Aiden and Nicole. And we have another four-way uh, project, Intersections, coming up. I'm thinking the end of this month or maybe next month, that will be available. And I cannot wait for that. Also, we have Bible studies every Sunday from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, coach classes with Coach every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. My brother Jamar is the host, the co-host as well. All right. So I'm going to stop sharing. I hear him knocking at the door, so I'm going to bring him in. Good brother. What's goody? What's goody?
What's up,
How
bro,
you
bro?
feel?
Good and grateful, bro. Yeah, you fit.
Man, all is well, brother. Can't complain. Still smiling from ear to ear. You know?
That's all we can do.
Yeah. That's
It's
all we
not,
can control. You had a good week so far?
I'm still here. So
Yeah.
the rest I figure out. You feel me?
I can
I'm
feel it.
still, I'm still here. So everything is all good, bro.
Good, good. Excellent. We're gonna have some fun today. We're gonna be talking about something that something that you hold on a lot, which is self accountability. So looking forward to getting into that. All right. So let me change the view and X out of this one here because the announcements are finished. Let's get to the quote of the day first. I'm gonna share my screen. Really like this quote. All right. So here it is. Taking responsibility means never blaming anyone else for anything you are being, doing, having, or feeling. This is by Susan Jeffers. We'll read it one more time. Well, two more times. Taking responsibility means never blaming anyone else for anything you are being, doing, having, or feeling. Tick tock. One more time for the people in the back. The quote reads, taking responsibility means never blaming anyone else for anything you are being, doing, having, or feeling. All right? So that's going to be the quote of the day to drive this train of self-accountability. So here's the exercise that I provided to my class on Tuesday. Stop sharing. And I'm going to bring up my chalkboard here. So the screen says, taking responsibility means never blaming anyone else for what? And what the class has to do is look in their own mirrors and decide or determine or reflect on what have we not taken responsibility for? What is it that we need to take responsibility for that we have not been taking responsibility for? So I will share with you guys a couple of days ago, my wife and I had some intense fellowship. And, we had some energy between us at that particular time. And it was necessary for me to walk away and do my own reflection and ask myself the question, what was I responsible for in that moment? Take the attention solely off of her, and I'm just using this as an example, focusing solely on me, because we all have a responsibility in every relationship dynamic in determining the outcomes or what directions you go in, whether you argue, whether you're confronted or not. What you say, what you do, all of that. We have some responsibility, whether it be a little or a lot. And when we grow up, because that's what we have to do, we have to look in our own mirrors and say, hey, all right, this is where I am right now. And what did I do? What can I own? What do I need to own in this moment that would highlight or expose how I contributed to where we are? Again, it could be a lot or a little, but it's something. You did something or you didn't do something. You said something or you didn't say something that has contributed to some kind of tension, some kind of argument, or whatever. So in that moment, I had to reflect, which I'm encouraging everybody to do, self-reflect, and say, all right, I said something in a way, using a certain tone, that contributed to her emotional triggers, or that triggered her emotionally. Had I said it differently, with a more loving tone, then we wouldn't be in this place. So that's what I own. So once I own that, the next step is making amends. Saying, hey, can I speak to you for a minute? Look, I realize that my tone wasn't loving and that it was offensive in the moment. So I apologize because I can see how my tone was a trigger for you. And then you delve into the conversation. But you own your part. So in your journal, what I'm asking everybody to do is really do some reflection. Think about some arguments that you've had most recently. And ask yourself, what have you done to contribute to the argument? The fuss, the fight, whatever happened. What do you take responsibility for? I find it very mind-blowing how some people don't take responsibility for anything. I mean, anything. You did something, even if it was small, even if it was, the way you made it could have been some kind of nonverbal form of communication on your part that contributed to it. So today's session is about ownership. And I really want people to go back and think about if there's any broken relationships, if there have been elephants in the room with you and some of your family members. I want you to own your part. And I want you to approach that person with love. And own your part out loud. And say, hey, this is what I'm responsible for. This is what I have done to contribute to where we are in our relationship dynamic. And listen, it doesn't matter whether they receive it or not. What matters is that you are adult enough to do your part and let God handle the rest. All right? So I'll stop sharing. Hopefully you guys have started your journal entries. I'm going to leave my chalkboard in place. Let's go to the article today. All right, here we go. This article is titled, Why Some People Will Never Admit They're Wrong. Why Some People Will Never Admit They're Wrong by Dr. Lynn. I will not butcher her last name. All right. Some people refuse to admit they are wrong. So I won't read all of the article, but let's get into the meat and potatoes of the article. There's a section in this article under defensiveness, rigidity, and pathological certainty. So let's look at how she breaks this down. She says some people don't take responsibility or admit they are wrong. Why? Because they believe they are always, in fact, right. You ever meet somebody like that? They always want to be right. The inability to mentalize, which involves being able to self-reflect and relate to a perspective or mindset other than one's own, can be an obstacle to empathy, connection, and repair. She goes on to say, a related issue is harboring pathological certainty about the correctness of one's position. Such cognitive inflexibility manifests as a frustrating closed mindedness, in effect, a psychological learning disability marked by the inability to take in new information and shift one's understanding. The need to be redeemed in the eyes of others after a mistake or wrongdoing is exposed can be associated with a rigid, perfectionistic personality style and or narcissistic defenses. Here, the unconscious pressure to maintain an idealized self-image is designed to function as a protection against the threat of feared criticism and self-rebuke. All right, let's look at this next section. Excessive guilt and shame. She says, for certain people, acknowledging that one has hurt a loved one or has done something wrong is unconsciously warded off. Why? Because it evokes dreaded feelings of badness and shame. Listen to this. Here, childhood dynamics involving a critical, shaming, unresponsive, and or guilt-tripping parent who impose an emotional burden are re-experienced. I'm pausing intentionally. I want to make sure that registered with everybody. Let me read that again. For certain people, acknowledging that one has hurt a loved one or has done something wrong is unconsciously warded off. Why? Because it evokes dreaded feelings of badness and shame. Here, childhood dynamics involving a critical, shaming, unresponsive, and or guilt-tripping parent who impose an emotional burden are re-experienced. Again, this goes back to childhood and how our foundations are built by our parents or not built. Being empathetic and owning up can lead people with this dynamic to over-identify with the imagined, projected suffering of another person and an exaggerated sense of their crime, fault, guilt, and emotional responsibility for the other person's feelings. And then she goes into miscommunication and confusion from lack of self-awareness. She says, misunderstandings and the feelings of being right can also result in an incongruent or incongruity between the conscious intent of one's communication or deed and the recipient's hurt reaction. This can be caused by a lack of self-awareness, leading to, listen to this, an incongruent communication in which feelings and unconscious processes intrude into the subtext of melody of a message without awareness. For example, unexpressed or unexpressed or compartmentalized feelings such as irritation, impatience, or resentment routinely leak out unwittingly through tone, pitch, and wording. I'm guilty of this. I'm not even going to hold you. This subtext and music of the interaction is transmitted instantaneously to recipient's brain, signaling danger and overriding superficially innocuous content. It's real wordy. But I can own the fact that your coach could be like that. When I'm irritated, my tone changes, my pitch changes, my wording changes. All right. So she also goes on, there's a section that says when standing one's ground is adaptive. In some situations, however, continuing to defend one's viewpoint or behavior is actually a normal or adaptive unconscious strategy. For example, in response to a developmental imperative to prioritize autonomy, such as in adolescence. Similarly, holding one's own can come from the legitimate need to protect oneself from an oppressive relational dynamic. For example, doing so may be a way to assert autonomy or a boundary when there is an abuse of power or in response to a controlling person. All right. And then she has a section on misguided conventional wisdom that is interesting. Misguided conventional wisdom about the danger of admitting mistakes. Listen to this. Of course, she says, when the stakes are high, politically or personally, the need to deny or defend actions that cause harm becomes complicated by ulterior motives and efforts to control the narrative, however misguided. Contrary to conventional wisdom, though, people are actually more likely to sue in the absence of a meaningful apology that acknowledges wrongdoing or harm. In cases involving litigation, apologies are frequently included in the terms of a settlement, and even when large settlements are awarded, defendants are disappointed without apologies, a finding echoed by public opinion. Let's see. Let's try a couple more. Well, let's look at a couple more. She has a section on responsivi- responsibility, responsibility, vidity, vidity. I'm not getting choked up on this word. Responsivity, responsivity. Never heard that before. Anyway, helps to repair disconnects in relationships. Misjudgments, conflict, and empathetic failure are unavoidable, especially in close relationships. Repeat that one more time for the people in the back. Misjudgments, conflict, and empathetic failures are unavoidable, especially in close relationships. Even with well-attuned mothers and their babies. I love this. There are disconnects where the mom is out of sync with the baby. But it is the ability to be reliably responsive and restore the rhythm or broken bond that determines the security and health of the child, and likewise the health of relationships or ease of settling a dispute. Man, that was good. Let's talk about where she says the aftermath of breaches of trust or hurt feelings. Let me see. This is the end, actually. So we'll close out after this. Reparative apologies satisfy our human need for a breach of trust or other harm to be acknowledged, understood, and felt in some way by the offending person in the service of restoring justice, reducing self-blame, or sharing some of the burden. When this need is ignored, I repeat, when this need is ignored, listen to this, retaliation and control struggles function as a substitute means to the same end, causing, watch this, further damage to everyone involved. Did you hear that? Let me repeat that one more time. Please don't miss this. Reparative apologies satisfy our need for a breach of trust or other harm to be acknowledged, understood, and felt in some way by the offending person in the service of restoring justice, reducing self-blame, and sharing some of the burden. When this need is ignored, she says, retaliation and control struggles function as what? As a substitute means to the same end, causing what? Further damage to everyone involved. Those who are capable can choose the antidote to further escalation and, by offering a true olive branch or limiting participation in the cycle, help make the world around them more inhabitable. I really like this article. A lot of sound information. But here are the takeaways. The ability to apologize can stem from trying to maintain an idealized image of oneself to avoid shame. That's the first takeaway. The second is refusal to apologize can result from the misguided belief that we shouldn't have to sense we weren't at fault. And third, conviction that no apology is needed can stem from a lack of self and relational awareness. So these are some of the reasons why some people will never admit that they're wrong. Love, love, love this article. All right. We come back to Brody. What you thinking, champ? Have you ever met somebody who just won't apologize for nothing, who won't take any responsibility for anything? Like they didn't do anything.
Oh man. Oh man, yo, bro. I swear. I was just having this conversation, yo. I just was having this conversation. Just before I got on the Zoom, bro. Just having this conversation. It's
All divine.
it's wild.
All divine.
And now it's like that's why I love it, bro. I look forward to Wednesdays, and I'm like, man, it's always gonna be something. It's gonna be something in life that we gonna talk about. It's like it's so I love it because it's just I love it. I just love it, man. Just to be one of the ones. Again, I ain't perfect by no means, but I ain't perfect by no means. But I know one thing: I take accountability. So I'm just happy to be. I'm happy to be on that side of the fence, bro. Because this is like, I find it absolutely insane that somebody cannot sit there and apologize. Excuse the passion, bro. Because it's just like, oh my goodness, man. You can't just apologize. You was wrong, and you can't even see that you was wrong. So no, you didn't do nothing at all. It's everybody else's fault. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's everybody else.
And but that is, bro. And they say somebody behind me. I thought it was somebody behind me. They say accountability feel like an attack. When you're not ready to acknowledge how your behavior harms others. So people take it as an attack. And I was telling her that I'm like, so when you bring accountability and I was telling my home and I was talking to Nene about it actually. I was just like, like the highest form of self-love is accountability. That's the highest form of self. Like if you can't take accountability for your actions, how can you sit there and then in turn how can you love somebody else? It's impossible you love somebody else if you don't love yourself. But in the society that we are in now, we got the wrong definition of love. Love is an action verb. We think love is just you just talk about it. You know love. Love is actually like, why don't you go work on yourself? You love me that much to go work on yourself.
Yeah.
Like it's just crazy out here, bro. Cause it's like it's people affected by that, right? So it's just I
Mhm.
find it. I find it. I'll be honest with you, man. I find it absolutely it's it's just to be honest, it's brutal. I find it disgusting at some points, yo. I find it absolutely
Yeah.
disgusting. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And I try to like, not, I'm not trying to judge or nothing. I'm just trying to be real. You know what I'm saying? I find it disgusting because I'm like, yo, you're making a choice. I
Yeah.
get it that we all, you know, some of us not don't have the consciousness yet, not aware of certain things. You know, it's been a program in place. We've been through some things as people, but it's still
Yeah.
our you still making a choice though.
Yeah.
Ignorance is a choice you're making. Period.
Mhm.
So that whole when people like, oh yeah, they just don't know. Nah, they do know. I don't want to hear that they just don't know because now these kids getting affected behind your
Mhm.
ignorance.
Mhm.
And it's like, who am I not to like, so I'm just scared, so I'm not gonna say nothing? Like, nah, I just cannot no longer. It's because it's insanity. We're gonna keep being in this same loophole, this cycle, because the adults don't want to take accountability. The kids
Yeah.
don't then the kids grow up and be like the adults.
Yeah.
So we're gonna blame somebody, we gotta blame out like ourselves as adults, like, cause this is absolutely insanity that we can just that we so messed up and sick in the head that we can't take accountability, bro. And people are suffering behind that.
Yeah.
Kids suffering behind that, and then what we are in and what we are come to, like I
Yeah.
don't think we really realize what we are in and that the war that we are in.
Yeah.
And we just like think it's sweet and you know what I'm saying, worrying about the next race or what the next people doing. It's like, yo, get your mind right, get yourself right. You worrying about the Epstein list. Why don't you worry about yourself and your family that do the same thing that Epstein they doing?
Yeah.
But you don't talk, but you don't say nothing because you don't want to tell on your uncle.
Mhm.
You feel what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Or or
Yeah.
or or, or, or the like what? So that's like nah. People suffer behind that, bro. Like people suffer behind that. Like so, I'm not with it. So I'm not fault to get deep into it, but it's like something was just the conversation I had earlier and what's been going on during the week. It's just wild. It's just wild.
Yeah.
But I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. Like, I want to see what I'm doing wrong, so I can apologize. You feel me?
Mhm.
So I can go ahead and
Yeah.
apologize. Like I apologize, and then I can change my ways because I've really, you know what I'm saying. So I can change. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I can grow, evolve. It's
Yeah.
you against you out here. Yeah, I want to evolve. So it's like, yeah, tell me, show me what I'm doing. Like if I did something wrong, tell me.
Yeah. 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 No
It's
doubt.
just crazy that people can't do that. But my fault to go get all
Yeah,
back
man,
to it.
you
But
good, man. It's all relative, bro. Let me give a couple shout outs before we jump off of here. Uh, Breda, Breda, I'm not sure how to pronounce that. Salute, thank you for checking in. Shelly, thank you for checking in. Rita, thank you for checking in. Freddie, uh, Ayon, if I'm pronouncing that right. Um, Lynn, thank you for checking in. Simply Jazz, thank you, Jazz, for checking in. Uh, Shani, thank you for checking in. Lexi, Franny, Chosen, Frank, thank you for checking in. Tabernacle, Star Bright, Annette, and many, many more. Deborah, Bosco, Tucker, thank you all for checking in. Appreciate you guys. Lou, Shadow, Tamzy, Echo, Milton, and many, many more. Thank you guys for checking in, even if you checked in for a little bit. It's your boy, Coach White, co-host Jamar White, my brother from the same mother. See you guys next week. Peace. All right. TikTok is shut down. Let me shut down Facebook and YouTube.